Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un nuevo video, espero que estén muy bien. Y bueno, les traigo esta importante noticia para que la compartan lo antes posible sobre lo que está sucediendo en Australia, el primer país con una identificación digital que ya está aprobada, que trae sistema de rastreo y reconocimiento facial. Así como lo oyen, ya no más periodos de prueba, sino que lo están aplicando. A continuación verán los reportajes de Australia, pero no solo es en ese país, también en Inglaterra se le había supuestamente pasado hasta el 1 de marzo del 2023 una encuesta a los ciudadanos, una especie de preguntas de consulta si querían que se aplicara esto en su país o no. Resulta que muy pocos ciudadanos, curiosamente, recibieron aquella encuesta y muy pocos se dieron cuenta de que esto ya están planeando aplicarlo también en aquel otro país, en Inglaterra. Así que los que viven en Europa, que me están viendo en este momento, es muy importante que se den cuenta de que dentro de muy poco puede que pasen un documento de proceso de consulta para que estén atentos a esos cambios. Acuérdense de lo que dijo el año pasado la presidenta de la Comisión Europea, Ursula von der Leyen, de la cual hice un video la vez pasada, que hablaba de la identidad digital. Pues bueno, ya lo tenemos aquí presente. Antes de ver los reportajes, les recomiendo mi video inmediatamente anterior, que se trata de la OMS y de cómo hay unas nuevas condiciones y un nuevo decreto que van a aplicar a nivel mundial. Volviendo al tema, van a ver el reportaje para que saquen sus propias conclusiones. Vean.
The state government is about to launch a new form of digital ID that means you'll never have to hand over your personal details to anyone again. It will all be stored in the Service New South Wales app on your phone, which will prove you are who you say you are.
Scanning his licence, passport and Medicare card, in less than 3 minutes, the minister proves he really is Victor Dominello.
This is unquestionably the Holy Grail.
This is your first look at the state's new digital ID.
This is a huge step forward in giving back people control over their data, control over their identity.
Personal credentials will be stored on your device. No IDs need to be handed over. And that means keeping your address and birth date to yourself. If you need to hire a car, rent a property, set up a bank account, check into a hotel, or prove you're over 18 to buy alcohol or attend an event.
All you need to do is tap your phone and that will be a validation that you are real.
Australians from, the kitchen table to the boardroom table would have an increased anxiety following the deluge of data breaches we saw late last year.
But this seeks to take away the risk because companies will never have a copy of your details in the first place. But how can it trust you are who you say you are? Well, you'll need to take a selfie, which will be cross-checked against other forms of ID you've submitted, and when there's a match, you're good to go. The technology will be opt-in and should be available later this year, although you'll run into problems interstate.
More than happy to offer it to other jurisdictions.
Amy Clements, 7 News.
Bueno amigos, ahora vamos a analizar toda la situación de fondo y qué implicaciones tiene.
These days we're used to being watched while we shop. But Consumer Group Choice has found retailers Bunnings, Kmart and The Good Guys are using more than just CCTV to keep an eye on us. Some cameras at their stores use facial recognition, scanning features to create unique face prints.
It's the equivalent to Kmart or Bunnings asking for your fingerprint or your DNA every time you enter into the store.
The companies say it's to prevent. There are controls around the use of the technology. It is not used for marketing or consumer behaviour tracking. This is the message outside Kmart stores. Facial recognition mentioned here.
What we don't know is really important questions about how this information is being stored, how is it being used for other purposes such as marketing.
It's sci-fi for now, but face prints and spending habits could one day be used to create hyper-targeted advertising.
John Anderton, you could use a Guinness right about now.
In China, facial recognition is common. Experts say it's also notoriously inaccurate. Last year, the Human Rights Commission recommended a moratorium on facial recognition technology until the country can ensure it's used responsibly. For now, the space remains largely unregulated and retailers are free to scan away.
They tell you one thing, but what they're gonna do, you never know.
I'd say it's a step too far. I don't trust anyone, let alone corporations.
There has to be some kind of like AI security that keeps a check on the people. So I guess it's unnecessary.
Choice says the regulator needs to intervene to make sure consumer rights are protected. Ruby Cornish, ABC News, Sydney.
Bueno amigos, ahora veamos este siguiente reportaje de Sky News Australia.
There was a disturbing story last week, as there was on Spectator Australia website and other media outlets, about places like Kmart, Bunnings, The Good Guys and other retailers are now commonly using facial recognition technology in their stores, which so you might innocently, you go for a sausage sizzle and next thing you know your face has been mapped and all your data is there in the store. Now they say, oh well, they put up a sign warning people about this, but isn't this the thin end of the wedge?
Well, this is, of course, the first thing that one thinks about when they walk into Bunnings to buy a rake is what's happening to your biometric data. I mean, it's completely nonsensical. I mean, ultimately, this is exactly what we're talking about, this world in which is being created around us, whereby sensitive biometric data is being captured, and we don't know what's happening to it. Where is it being stored? Is it safe? I mean, this is one of the problems with this digital ID and facial recognition stuff, is we get told that it's all safe, and we saw how accurate that was with the QR codes, which seem to be getting lost and missing every 10 minutes. I just think we're not ready for what this actually means, and Australians need to make a decision very, very quickly as to whether or not they're happy for their digital future to be one of violence, because I'm not, and I suggest people speak to their local MPs about this.
Bueno amigos, eso ha sido todo el tema por el momento y ustedes me pueden decir abajo qué opinan los que viven en Europa. ¿Les han dicho algo al respecto? Bueno, es importante que esta información la sepa la mayor cantidad de gente posible. Esto ha servido para que la gente recolecte firmas en Inglaterra, por ejemplo, con las llamadas ciudades de 15 minutos. Estas cosas de algún modo se han detenido porque mucha gente ha afirmado que quiere otro tipo de propuestas diferentes. Y bueno amigos, lo prometido es deuda. Les dejo este video anterior que tiene que ver con el que estamos haciendo ahora. Se trata de la OMS y algunas de sus propuestas y nuevos tratados para 196 países, y también debemos estar muy pendientes de ello. Nos vemos hasta la próxima y estamos conectados.